Members of Colten Boushie's family are in Ottawa. They're meeting a number of federal ministers. That is after the not guilty verdict in his shooting death, which led to a national outcry. Joining us from Ottawa this morning is the Globe and Mail's Laura Stone. Laura, the Prime Minister is preparing for a private meeting with the Boushie family. He faced a lot of backlash after responding to this case when the verdict came out. That issue brought up in question period, and the Prime Minister responded. I want to give our viewers a chance to have a listen to what happened.
While it would be completely inappropriate to comment on the specifics of this case, we understand that there are systemic issues in our criminal justice system that we must address. We are committed to broad-based reform to address these issues. As a country, we must and we can do better. Our government is committed to working hard every day to ensure justice for all Canadians.
Reading from his notes there, but are there any specific requests from the family we know that will be on the table at these meetings?
Good morning, Anne-Marie. Well, the family was in Ottawa yesterday, and they're back today meeting with, as you said, Prime Minister Trudeau, but also Justice Minister Jody Wilson-Raybould and Public Safety Minister Ralph Goodale. They don't have any specific asks, although the family did bring up the issue of jury selection yesterday. I think their top priority in meeting with these very powerful people here in Ottawa, including the Prime Minister, is to be heard, to be listened to. They said they want to rebuild the relationship between Indigenous peoples and the government. But we know that the government is interested in reviewing this issue of jury selection and the underrepresentation of Indigenous people on juries. The Justice Minister said yesterday she's going to look into this idea, these challenges that lawyers can make about jury selection. They can reject jurors without giving a reason, and that might be part of this criminal justice reform that the Trudeau government is looking into. So, whether there's going to be any concrete measures that come out of these meetings today, I don't think it will be announced, but we know that the Trudeau government is looking into this broad idea of jury selection and other criminal justice reforms as part of a package.
Another thing happening today is taking another look at Bill C-65. That's the anti-harassment bill. Something interesting that developed yesterday was the minister saying that not only will this apply to harassment in the workplace, they're also taking a look at it happening in off hours and online.
That's right. It was a very interesting comment made at the committee, which is beginning its study of this anti-harassment legislation. And Employment Minister Patty Hyde, you said this is basically because work doesn't stop here on Parliament Hill and in many industries such as banking and telecoms, which are impacted by the legislation. It's not a 9-to-5 job. There's lots of receptions here in Ottawa. People go to the bar for drinks or there's events. And she said it could even apply to text messages or unwanted phone calls. So this is really an encompassing idea here that harassment is not simply something that happens in the office. It could extend to after work hours, and that is going to be part of this study of the anti-harassment legislation.
Laura, that represents a real shift in culture, both on the reporting side and the workplace side, because typically what happened in off hours was considered your own personal business. It looks like this bill is looking to change that.
Exactly. I think there's kind of awakening now with this Me Too movement and some stories that we've heard coming out of Parliament Hill of things that have happened after hours that, everything might be kind of quote unquote normal while you're at the office, but, some incidents could occur, especially around drinking or more social matters that, you don't cease to be a boss of someone when you go out for drinks with them after work. So this is kind of a shift, as you say, in thinking and attitude of how we treat workplace culture. And it basically says that it never ends. You don't stop being a boss at 5 o'clock, and these appropriate relationships have to continue beyond the office.
All right, NDP MP Peter Stauffer will be part of a topic of conversation at the NDP National Convention. That takes place in Ottawa this coming weekend. What else will be discussed there?
Well, I think there's a lot of soul searching going on in the NDP right now, including about these allegations against Peter Stauffer, who's a longtime MP here in Ottawa. The NDP has said they're not going to be opening a formal investigation into some allegations of unwanted touching and kissing that have emerged about him. But in general, I think the NDP is going to be examining their harassment policies, how they report harassment, how they treat it, and also what kind of party they want to present to the general electorate in 2019. This will be Jagmeet Singh's first policy convention as leader. So this is going to set the tone, set the stage for the type of party that the NDP is going to be in the 2019 election. So it should be a very interesting and quite a high stakes policy convention here in Ottawa this weekend.
Laura, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Anne-Marie.